Gateway 97.8. Here on Gateway 97.8, Basildon and East Thurrock's brighter sound. It is from the very heart of Eastgate, and it's Aston Avery here. Stephen Smith joins me, and we're now joined by Out News Global, and from Out News Global there, Rob, who's journalist and editor for him as well. Rob Harkavy joins us right now. So, Rob,
Happy
hello.
New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year, guys. Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks very much. Just about keeping my head below water.
How's the New Year been so far?
Well, I mean, much the same as everyone's, I suppose. I mean, I didn't mind escaping the forced fun of New Year's Eve, and all the COVID figures were going down, and we were looking forward to a vaccine rollout.
Yeah.
And then the body blow of this terrible new strain of the disease, which has obviously led to yesterday's news about lockdown and increased deaths. So I think I'm pretty much the same as most people.
Now, Rob, obviously 2021, we're discussing about men's mental health here. So what does this mean to you to be a man in 2021 here?
Well, I mean, I think that's a brilliant question, and very much in my view, just as a journalist, so a layman, I think that question hides, or in fact reveals, a lot of issues with men's mental health. And what I mean by that is that I think a lot of poor mental health, and in fact suicide stats amongst men, is because many men, especially young men, are confused about how to be a man, especially straight men who are in relationships with women. So, for example, offering to pick up the bill, is that expected or is it sexist?
Yeah.
Is flirting under any circumstances acceptable, or is it always going to be interpreted as a bit Me Too? It's very confusing for young guys out there right now.
Would you say, Rob, then, that keeping the traditional route that men, say in the 60s, were taught to be, you know, to pay for the bill, to be masculine, to be this, is a better route than it is now with all the different various things out there?
No, I'm not sure that I am saying that, but I think what has happened is and far cleverer people than I can come up with a solution. I'm just sort of posing the question, really. Traditional, if you like, for those of us brought up in the 60s and 70s, traditional masculinity or traits of masculinity, which used to be essential for doing well in society. So, you know, and these are indicated by boys playing war in the playground.
Yes, of course.
Dominance, physical strength, assertiveness. We're now told those are toxic, and maybe they are.
Yeah.
But that does lead to a lot of confusion, and I think a lot of that confusion becomes or turns into poor mental health.
Yes, of course, absolutely. Now, listen, you published a very successful LGBT magazine, Out News Global, which I'm lucky enough to be one of the columnists for. It's absolutely brilliant.
You're very modest, Stephen. You're the chief correspondent.
but more importantly, is you have chosen yourself to go down the traditional route. You're married with children, and you know, happily married. How does working with an LGBTQ magazine work into your life and going for the traditional route?
Right. Well, first of all, obviously, bisexual and pansexual people can be with members of the opposite sex and be monogamous in the same way, and that's me. I actually fell into it. I was in the travel business. Then in 1993, a friend of mine who worked for another company in the travel business, who was a gay friend of mine, said, let's start a gay holiday company. Okay. So we did. Yeah. And then I was in LGBT business. Then I went from the dark, then I came over to the dark side in about 2007, went from travel to media. Yeah. And then I ended up with Out News Global. So it was just a pretty typical career path, really, but I love it.
But how long have you been married?
Well, we've been together 20 years, and I had a relationship before that, which also gave me a son. So I have a couple of children from different.
You're openly bisexual yourself, aren't you?
It's funny when people say openly. Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah.
We know how many straight men are in the closet.
The continuum between straight and bisexual is directly related to the amount of lager consumed.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard that one before.
So, Rob, obviously, as I mentioned, talking about mental health today, obviously 2020 had been difficult for everyone as well, especially with what's been going on currently at the beginning of this year, though. What has your mental health been like during 2020?
Well, I've been okay. As Stephen touched on a bit earlier, I'm surrounded with love. Not just within the four walls I'm talking to you from now, but also in my work. I mean, I don't want to make him blush, but Stephen has been a fantastic friend, sadly, mostly on Zoom and email, like most relationships over the past year. And of course, I have a repeat prescription for antidepressants, which is never going to do me any harm.
What advice would you give the your younger self, as a man looking back on your teen and youth? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound quite cheesy, so it's going to be nothing original, but really, do not care what other people think about who you are and the decisions you make. Doesn't mean you should be cruel, and it doesn't mean you should ride roughshod over the sensibilities of other people. But ultimately, you come in on your own and you go out on your own.
Absolutely.
And between those 2 points, you owe it to yourself to be true to yourself. And also, I would say, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't get angry so much. I mean, you look on social media, so many younger people are so angry about so much. And, that's often justified. But sometimes you just have to shrug your shoulders and say, the world isn't fair. SHIT happens, and move on. I think it's the 12 steps, isn't it, that something that luckily has evaded me, that has part of that prayer that says, give me the strength to not to seek to change that which I can't change. And just so look after those around you, be kind to your neighbours and your loved ones, and the world will take care of itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. And Rob, obviously 2021, that started off now that we're in a national lockdown, it has to be said now, the third one out of that we've been under now. So how would you like the rest of 2021 to pan out?
Well, just get these vaccines going. I mean, incredibly, for a government that has kind of stumbled awfully over the last few months, it does seem that the vaccine rollout is well organised, and let's return to normal. For goodness sake, I want to do more business throughout News Global. I want people to be able to go out. I just want this to be over, and let's get back to a sense of normality, and especially for our students out there, the kids who start university last September, they're meant to have, it's meant to be the year of their lives, their freshers year, their expansion of the world, and they're stuck in rooms learning online, and for them, I'd like that to be over.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Well, listen, it's been as always, we could go on forever. Been lovely seeing you, and we'll look forward to having you back on again.
Indeed.
Thank you so much, guys, and Happy New Year to you and all the Gateway listeners.
Find out more quickly, Rob, about Outnews Global.
Well, just visit outnewsglobal.com and read some columns by me and some even more brilliant columns by your very own Steven Smith.
Yes, it's called Tales of a Single Middle-Aged Gay Man. That was my friend pointed out, old man.
So, Rob, I'd like to say thank you for joining me on Gateway today, and also Stephen would like to thank you as well for joining us today as well.
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.